What's up YouTube? Ace Poker back here for another video. This time we're back at the same home game from last video. The action was great. The environment was great. The guys there were awesome. I had an amazing time. I'm super excited to go back there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to put into the universe. Good session. We're going to have good results today. Win big, and let's get right into some hands. Thank you guys for watching. Alright, welcome back. Thank you guys for tuning in for another week. Let's start it off strong with pocket jacks here in the small blind. Under the gun raises to $15, a small raise in this game. The cutoff calls $15. We come in for the good old 3-bet to $80. Just the initial raiser decides to call, so just me and him are going to a board of Queen 7-5. Not the best flop in the world, but on the other hand, not the worst as well. So honestly, on these boards, I'm not really sure what to do when there's a card over my pair. So I decided to c-bet here for $80. This card definitely hits my range more. I'll have a lot more of the over pairs, a lot of ace queen, king queen, so definitely should hit my range, and my opponent decides to make the call for $80. So not the best case, but still he cannot believe me with pocket 10s, pocket 8s, pocket 6s, any of the low pocket pairs. The turn now comes another one of those low cards, a 6. So again, like I said on the flop, I have no idea what to do here. My opponent easily could have a queen and we could be taking ourselves to value town. But like I said, when I don't really know what to do, I just bet again. I bet for $80, and it's not a good strategy to bet when you don't really know what you're accomplishing. But luckily, my opponent decides to make the fold, and we take this one down. Gonna have to review this. If you guys have any thoughts or comments on the hand, definitely let me know. Always looking to improve. And let's go to the next one. We raise queen jack suited, everyone folds, and then the next hand doesn't come for another hour. This next hand occurs from one position over. I'm now on the button instead of the small blind. And the same exact development happens. The same player who was under the gun +1, who is now under the gun, opens to $15, and again, now the cutoff, who was the button last hand, calls the $15, and I 3-bet it up to $55 this time, and now when it gets back to under the gun, he thinks for a little while and decides to put in a 4-bet to $175. Looking back on it, maybe he picked up on a little bit of a sizing tell. Maybe he's sick of me just 3-betting him and he just wants to put his foot down early in the session so that I don't 3-bet him all night. He's a vlog watcher, Nick. He sees how I play. He's a good player. I decided to let this one go, and thankfully I don't have to wait to see what he has. I stopped recording and then he flashed me pocket jack, so it looks like he had a good hand there. We only had one over. Nice hand, Nick, and we're on to the next hand. Alright, this hand is super confusing, so try to stay with it here. I am in middle position and I open this up to $20. You'll see why later in the video, why this is a perfectly fine hand to open and play. The player to my left who's in the hijack decides to make the call, and now the cutoff, who was super short stacked, jams for $80. It folds all the way back to me, and here's where I make a mistake, but actually might wind up working out for me. I decide to just call the $80 instead of re-raise and isolate. And that leads the player to my left a perfect opportunity to call, so he puts in the extra $60 as well, and we're going 3 ways here to a dry side pot, which basically means that me and the other player can now bet, but it's not going to affect the main pot. You guys kind of sort of understand what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense to bluff into a dry side pot, but let's see the flop here. It comes 8-3 deuce. Shouldn't hit my opponent at all, and I just want to get him out of the hand. I bet $55 and he makes the call. Already going back on my word on saying that you shouldn't bluff into a dry side pot, but honestly, call me crazy, queen high could be the best hand here. He could have so many different hands. Let's see the turn. The turn now comes a king, which is obviously a much better card for me as the initial raiser, so I decide to keep my foot on the gas here and decide to bet $85. My opponent thinks it over for a little while and decides to make the call. I think he definitely has a lot of draws here. He could have picked up a massive draw, a straight, and a flush draw, but I would have thought he maybe would have raised that, so I think maybe he's just got some kind of low pocket pair, and I'm going to have to blast off on the river to get him off this hand, so let's see what the river brings. Now the river comes the ace of spades, honestly one of the best cards in the deck. It's a much better card for me. Again, like I said, if he's got some low cards, if he just had top pair with an 8 somehow, if he has a low pocket pair, the king should have scared him, and now the ace definitely will scare him. Like I said, you shouldn't bluff into a dry side pot, but now thanks to my doing, this is not a dry side pot. There's a lot of money in the side pot here. so I decided to bet out for $150. Thankfully, it doesn't take too long for my opponent to fold. As you can expect, we're not going to win the main pot as the opponent had ace-10 offsuit, which is honestly a weird hand to jam, but, you know, kudos to him. I made it look like I had a good hand, and I said, you needed that ace on the river, and I didn't show my hand. I told my opponent that I had a king, so if he's watching this now, he's going to see that I did not have a king. I love doing that. I love just saying hands that I don't have. Don't trust anybody at a poker table. I think you guys know that one by now. So here's a rare bluff by me. We get it through. This was a perfect spot to do so. Happy it worked. Happy I thought this one through. Didn't play it honestly overall the best, but I'm happy it worked out, and let me know what you guys think of the play. For the next hand here, we have an amazing development as we look down at two black queens in the big blind. Under the gun raises to $20 as you see here. Under the gun +1 now re-raises to $50. It folds all the way to me, facing a raise and then a 3-bet. Obviously, we're coming in here for the 4-bet. Don't want to go 3 ways to a bloated pot here, so what sizing do we choose? I decided to choose $175. Under the gun folds, and now under the gun +1 folds as well. Let me know what you guys think about the sizing. I've been trying to figure this out pre-flop and get that down. I think $175 was the right price. Let me know what you guys think and what you would have done here. For this hand here, we pick up 10-8 suited on the button. Personally, I love these suited connecting hands on the button because you either smash a flop or don't, and they're super easy to play. Headed right to a flop here in which we flop 2 pair. It checks to me, I decide to bet $25, and only the small blind to my direct left decides to make the call. We see a 6 on the turn, and now when he checks, I get a little sneaky and decide to check this one back. Honestly, I don't really have much reason for you, but that's what I did. Might have gotten a little punished as the river now comes a 6 counterfeiting our 2 pair. And now my opponent leads out for $55. I decide to flick in the call, and he just flips over ace-9, turning his gutter into a bluff. So we take this one down, and we're on to the next one. For the same reason as last hand, we're on the button here and decide to call a $20 raise with 4-5 suited. Let's go, let's smash a flop. We're off 3 ways to a flop in which we flop bottom pair. The action checks to me, no need to start bluffing, we've got some showdown value. I check, and we are instantly rewarded with 2 pair on the turn. The action checks to me again, not gonna let it check through this time. I decide to put out a bet of $25, and only the player to my direct left decides to make the call. He's in the small blind, and he's definitely a splashy player, so tons and tons of hands he can have here. Let's navigate a river. We see not the best river, as there now is a 1 card straight out there, but I mean, how many 3s is he going to have in his range here? I decide to go for a value bet of $35 here, and now my opponent decides to raise to $125. This opponent is a very good thinking player, can turn a missed flush draw into a bluff. He knows that I play on the tighter side and knows that this board definitely does not smash me, and I probably should be capped at 1 pair here at best. So I do not give him credit for this raise. I pay it off, and he shows the 9-3 suited for the 1 card straight. Gross. There was only a couple cards that he could hit there. You know, this one still stings a bit, and we're on to the next hand. This is definitely a pretty fun and interesting hand. The action folds to me on the cutoff, and I decide to open ace-queen to $30. The big blind, Nick, from earlier, who showed me jacks when he 4-bet, decides to just come out and say, why so much? You know, this wasn't a raised pot or anything, and I laugh, and I just say, yeah, I know, I made it $30. He decides to make the call, and just me and him are headed to a flop of queen 5-6 with 2 hearts. Very, very, very good board. He checks to me, I see bet for $30, and he makes the call. So looking for a clean turn, and we pretty much sort of get that in the 10 of diamonds. Now there's a double flush draw out there, and now queen 10 beats us, but can't be scared of monsters under the bed. This is definitely a really good board. He checks to me, and now I go for another bet of $40. He decides to make the call yet again, so not sure what he's got or what we need to fade on the river, but we definitely don't want to see a heart, and that's what comes in. The annoying 2 of hearts. The front door flush gets there, and even worse, my opponent now leads out for $175. This is disgusting. Why can't we ever just get a clean run out and just win a pot normally? Again, my opponent is definitely a thinking player, knows that I'm pretty much always capped to 1 pair here, whether it be aces, kings, ace, queen. I mean, at best I'll have queens here, but again, the front door flush comes in and he just leads huge, so I don't really know what to do. I'm going to be a complete nit if I fold here, so I decide to frustratingly flick in the call, and what do you know, he's got a flush, the best flush, the ace high flush. Yep, it's just free money if you're playing against me. If you've got a draw, put all your money in there. It'll definitely come out. Hopefully we can make some hands and hold. That's a big key to poker, holding your hands. On to the next hand where we look down at Queen 10 of Hearts, a beautiful hand. We're in the big blind, the $10 straddle is on. Two players call the $10. I decide to employ the raise or fold strategy. I decide to bump this one up to $50, squeezing it here. Hopefully everyone folds. We pick up about $30 before the flop. But just the straddler decides to make the call, so we're going heads up with about 120 in there already. To an interesting board. It's a board that's definitely much better for me as the pre-flop raiser, but obviously god-awful for the hand that we actually have. Nonetheless, think it's a perfect board to c-bet. I decide to put out a bet of $40. My opponent thinks about it for a little while and decides to min-raise to $80. I really like this play to try to figure out what kind of hand I have. Maybe he actually has a strong hand, maybe he doesn't. But nonetheless, the gig is up. We have to fold this hand, and we're on to the next. If a Queen 10 didn't work the first time, let's try it again. We have Queen 10 of Hearts again. In middle position, there's a few limps of $5. I decide to open it up to $30. Gets all the way back to under the gun, who decides to go all in for $250. The limp re-raise jam in this case. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to play. The gambler and me definitely wanted to call and see if we can hit a flop here, but definitely can't for $250. And unfortunately, we're going to have to let this one go. Now we pick up the beautiful Ace Queen of Hearts, pipping up a little bit here, still with the heart variety. I open it up to $25 and just the button decides to make the call. So we're going heads up to an amazing flop. We yet again have top pair. Things are looking up. I decide to c-bet for $20 and he makes the call. We'll have to navigate a turn, not sure if he's got a flush draw, some kind of middling pair, maybe a weaker ace himself and we can win a massive one here, but let's see what the turn brings. We see one of the worst turn cards in the deck. The front door flush draw comes in and now any 10 now beats us, but definitely have to keep betting here. I bet $40 and my opponent makes the call. Now I'm really not sure what he has, because if he has a flush, he probably should raise unless he is just trapping. If he has a 10, he probably should raise. So again, I'm thinking it's more likely he's just got a weaker ace, and we're going to win a lot here if we can get a clean river. We see the biggest brick in the deck on the river, the 2 of spades. Now I check it over to my opponent, and he thinks and decides to go massive. He bets out $175. I am puking. This is disgusting. I just can't ever get a clean run out. I feel like I'm definitely beat here, but for some reasons that I've stated prior, I just can't fold in this spot. I would definitely be too nitty and be taken advantage of in all my games if I'm folding in this spot. Everyone's just going to be able to push me around. I mean, there's still plenty of hands that my opponents can bluff here with, or turn hands that have showdown value into a bluff, so there's still a good shot that we could win here. I just have to put my foot down, make the call, I flick in the call, and my opponent says we're good. He mucks. I'm super happy that I decided to make the call there, and we were right. We won a huge pot, and we're going right back in the right direction. Hopefully we can end the night on a good note. Then we raise pocket 10s, and shocker, there are a bunch of overcards over there. We check, somebody bets, and we fold. And then we're on to ace queen again for the hand of the night, so strap in your seatbelts and get ready. For a quick pretense before the hand, under the gun opened to $20, we 3-bet to $80, got back to him, and he made the call, so there's $160 in the middle. We're going heads up, mano y mano to a flop of ace 10-3, bang, rainbow. He checks it over to me. I decide to c-bet here for a down c-bet of $60, and now my opponent does something that really hasn't happened to me in a long time. On this very dry board, my opponent decides to raise to $150. I have no idea what this means. I don't really feel good about it at all, because as you guys can see, it's a dry board. There's no flush draw, there's no straight draws. My opponent is saying he has ace 10 specifically, pocket 10s or pocket 3s or nothing. So obviously my opponent's repping very thin. We decide to put in the call and decide to see what comes on the turn. Maybe we can hit a queen, maybe we can hit an ace, maybe that's going to be disastrous. Who knows? Let's see. Headed to a turn which in my opinion is the best turn in the deck, the 10 of spades. Yes, now it introduces a spade flush draw. Now it greatly reduces the chances that my opponent has ace 10 or pocket 10s. Yes, pocket 3s are still very, very likely, but when it's on my opponent, he decides to go all in and I snap call. My opponent shows pocket 10s. Oh my goodness. As you guys see here, we are a heavy favorite, and we can definitely win here. We have a lot of equity headed to the river, so we're hoping for a good river, and the river does it to us. We lose. The river does it to us. As you guys can see, I'm joking. I'm trying to, laugh off the pain here. My opponent has 4 of a kind. We're dead on the turn. Yep, that's GG's. That's going to show just how crazy my downswing has been. The session has been brutal. These past couple sessions have just been absolutely brutal. Super, super hard mentally. Just going to have to head to the outro, try to regather myself, and just try to play better next time. I don't know. Personally, I like how I played this. There's nothing else I could do here. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm filming this a couple days later. That's why I got a different hat on, different outfit. But lost to 4 of a kind. If that doesn't, cap off how my run bad has been, I don't know what would. So yeah, we lost 800 in like 4 hours today. Things are just not going good for me. Hopefully things can, turn it around and keep going. It's, really tough to keep putting out losing videos, and to lose myself, it's tough because I'm a very competitive person and I love doing this, but it's hard to, keep coming out with losing video after losing video. But as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it at least. I don't know, maybe some of you guys enjoyed to see me lose. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you guys have a great day.